evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another National Anthem reaction video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we stick around in the Caribbean for a while longer because we now venture all the way off the coast of Venezuela, all the way to Trinidad and Tobago. Now, among many other things that I absolutely am proud to say, well, unfortunately, that I do not know, is that, well, it comprises, of course, the small island nation of Tobago, and you've got Trinidad all the way down here. Now, as far as, again, this is sort of where we're sort of like verging away from like the South Americans and into the Caribbean. And case in point, mountainsides completely covered in forests, beaches absolutely pristine and crystal clear to the naked eye. And then, of course, you even get some incredibly busy ports and cities, literally all ready for customs. And I think this is meant to be like the port of Spain, technically, right here. It certainly looks very industrious and certainly very busy, which is also very good because you've got entire, like, again, beach regions just over here, absolutely just to be left on their own and just to be enjoyed and endured, which is honestly one of the best things about island nations like these that are so busy, is that, well, there are always spaces where, you can get a bit of breathing space and things, of course, look incredibly beautiful. And then, of course, again, I'm going to take a guess that this might be more in the direction of Tobago, because it might be slightly further out from Trinidad and more in the roots of the Caribbean. Because I'm not entirely sure by the time we come to Venezuela as to whether or not, like, palm trees are more reclined for the Caribbean as opposed to basically the tip of South America. But again, this might be just one of those things we might learn about even more when we come to doing the translation for this video, because not knowing necessarily if English is the lingua franca across Trinidad and Tobago, we will certainly find out. But one thing is certainly for sure is, again, just like so many other nations we've discussed throughout this series, is that at its absolute best, Trinidad and Tobago, is that the Sage Theatre they've got? Well, I know it looks okay. It looks very similar to the Sage Theatre. Is that, among other things, again, this just you can't fault how beautiful it looks. I mean, just especially when you're sitting here in the northeast of England during the winter, you cannot imagine how badly you want to get away and just into a place where it's sunny and the sky is blue all the year round. It's just ideal and looks beautiful just for the average observer. Now, as to what we know ourselves, is that here is the nation's flag, which I originally thought that this was like the cover of the Panama album by Van Halen, which is kind of strange because Panama is not too far. Well, it's sort of near the top of South America, it's sort of like borders between Cambodia and Mexico. Maybe Eddie didn't realize until it was too late, but I actually do quite like the flag a lot, because obviously it's meant to be both dueling of Trinidad and Tobago, with this black line probably representing the sea, the Caribbean Sea right here. Dual island Caribbean nation near Venezuela with distinctive Creole traditions and cuisines. So it is sort of basically, yeah, it is literally two nations into one, basically. Trinidad's capital, the Port of Spain, hosts a boisterous carnival featuring calypso and soca music. Numerous bird species inhabit sanctuaries such as the Aso Wright Nature Center, and the smaller island of Tobago is known for its beaches and Tobago Main Ridge Forest Reserve, which shelters hummingbirds. Which, if you are a fan of hummingbirds, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. If you fancy yourself as being a John James Audubon, then absolutely, Tobago is the way to go. And speaking of the way to go, is that it does technically it does have English as its national language, which struck me as quite surprising because I thought, again, Trinidad probably might. I thought like Trinidad would have definitely have had Spanish, with Tobago maybe possibly involving a bit of English. Well, because here's the interesting thing is that if you are like me and you've ever watched a soap opera called EastEnders before, you might be aware that there is a family living on the square who basically they all come from Trinidad, but I suppose it only makes sense. I've never heard anyone break into Spanish or French for that matter, so yeah, maybe it does make more sense that English would be the lingua franca, but that's just how that is, if you ask me. But one thing I have never really thought about getting my head around is what its language, or rather, what its music really does sound like. Is it is it going to be quite like a lot of Caribbean sort of music, or again maybe it features calypso style involved in there as well? So let's find out. I actually can't wait for myself. So if you guys are ready, please stand for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. Forged from the love of liberty.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and proud, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every queen and find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every queen and find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Just like Jamaica's national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. And again, it is a very simple sort of little prayer that the people of Trinidad and Tobago sing about how things are forged out of love, the love of being a free race, of being bestowed gifts of hope and prayer, and how there is faith for the future. Which is, curiously enough, again, when you think about it like that, you must also understand just how important and precious liberty, freedom, democracy, not just from a conceptual level, but just from an everyday life point of view. Just these people are obviously, they're very switched on in terms of they know without even having to think about it, about just how important liberty, hope, prayer, love, and destiny and faith really are. It's something that you have to stand behind. It's something that you have to be prepared to die with. It's a beautiful idea, and it's also really, really nice just knowing that it's an anthem that is certainly got a lot of promise, and something that probably promises its people that we have the freedom to make our own choices and the freedom to make our own decisions. And it's those level of freedoms, ladies and gentlemen, is what allows the people of Trinidad and Tobago to make their own minds and to be anything they truly want to be. It's very much almost like the ending to Blue's Clues of national anthems. It's a simple message that if you want, you can be anything that you want to be if you're prepared to work for it. And God bless the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Here, every creed and race find an equal place. Certainly, again, if there ever comes a time when I visit both Trinidad and Tobago, I certainly hope that I will find my place among them as well. among up to the recording of this video, with a population of just under 1.5 million people, I'm sure there's also plenty of spaces to be. And again, to find your place among them would actually be quite an honouring thing to do, if you ask me. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys felt of the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago for yourselves. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care and bye-bye for now.